All right, my friends, thank you for joining us. I will now get into some basic analysis and basic history of the New World Order, of the Illuminati. Understand that in any look at history, history is so complex, so wide, so many different versions and views of it, that it's impossible to give you a complete picture. But I'm just going to give some of the basics. Knowledge is power. The people perish for lack of knowledge. And whether it was the ancient Mayan cultures in Mesoamerica, or the ancient Babylonian or Roman cultures, and before that even the Egyptian, on through to modern times, there were mystery schools. And there was a lot of mumbo-jumbo and occultism, that just means hidden, associated with it, because they believed mathematics was magical, and they believed numbers and information was power, because it was. And if you look at the technology of today, you show somebody that 100 years ago, they would think it was magic. The technology we have today is indistinguishable from magic. It is amazing. And so because knowledge is power, secret organizations of witch doctors, of shaman, a priest class, formed in every society separate from each other. This is the way humans interact and behave. The more things change, the more they stay the same. There's nothing new under the sun. Truth is stranger than fiction. All of that pertains to this. So, using basically different tricks, they would manipulate the general public. They would be able to astrologically calculate mathematically when a solar or lunar eclipse was coming. They would tell the people, give us offerings, let us run the society, let us run the city, let us run the tribe, or the Titan is going to eat the sun, and we will all live in darkness. And then they would know the date of the Titan eating the sun, or the snake god eating the sun in the case of the Aztecs. And the people would all be out there around the pyramid or around the temple. And the Titan or the snake god or whatever god they were worshiping would attack the sun. The priests would do some incantations. And the people would believe that the sun was regurgitated. It's the same in every society. So this is how the scam really began of the Illuminati, using mysticism, mumbo-jumbo, the whole knock-on-wood mentality on the public with superstition to control them. Meanwhile, they had real technologies of architecture, of agriculture, and Egypt really formed some of the first mystery schools. The West loves to only look at itself. China really predates that. But looking at Western cultures and the Mediterranean area, in the Middle East, and they had a priest class who kept the building technologies and the agricultural technologies, but also the social architecture technologies, the social engineering technologies of how to manipulate and control and how to tax and how to regulate and basically a caste society. We see the first more sophisticated civilizations and governments forming. And they don't want the general public learning this, so they formed the first intelligence agencies, what we call our CIA or FSB, KGB, Shin Bet, Mossad, MI6 of today. But surrounding that was all this occult mumbo-jumbo, because they had to keep secret how to plant crops and when to plant crops. And they had to keep secret how to build pyramids and how to build ziggurats and how to build obelisks. And they had to keep secret when there was going to be an eclipse. And the priest class even manipulated most of the royalty to where they just became titular figureheads because they believed the mumbo-jumbo. Then the priest class, of course, they didn't know what was just eating the sun. They believed it too. So they were also believing their own propaganda. And that is the Illuminati. It predates Christianity. It predates every major religion that we know today, Islam, Judaism, all the stuff in the Talmud, all the stuff in the Zohar. All of that is just regurgitations, and all these mystery religions and the whole Kabbalic system are just regurgitations of the mystery schools that also flourished and worked together between Babylon and Egypt and Greece, and then, of course, Rome. And so these secret guilds and societies were always there. It was the Masons who were the stonemason guild, or the stonemason union, who built the cathedrals in the Dark Ages and into the Renaissance all over Europe, from Germany to England to France to Spain, and of course right there at in Rome. And so they were very powerful. They had a lot of wealth. And going back to the 1700s, they were able to then get more political and reach for more power, because a renaissance had developed just because of the printing press and more international travel and shipping. And so new middle classes had developed, and people wanted a revolution, and people wanted liberty and freedom. And so the Illuminati came along, and they really wanted to be the aristocrats. They wanted to supplant the royalty and just set themselves up as kings. But in their pyramidal structure, they went out and recruited the best and brightest revolutionaries, the best and brightest musicians, writers, the wealthiest independent people, the merchant class, the ultra-rich merchant class, the shipping class, the banking class, and they teamed up, and using that secret system, those secret organizations that were really intelligence agencies, good old boys clubs, they were able to increase their wealth and start working against royalty. But in reality, they actually made some deals with royalty to knock off other royalty, and they made deals when they ran out of France in Scotland and England with the royalty there to then move against the royalty in the continent and to overthrow them. But then there was French Revolution. Then there was blowback with that same movement. It's true that a lot of our founding fathers were Illuminati to set that up here. But understand, it's pyramidal. They would go out and recruit people who were already wanting revolution, who were already revolting all over Europe and in the colonies. And they would tell them, oh, peace on earth, no more wars. The industries and the mechanics and the builders will create a new society, no more war, freedom, liberty. It's going to be great. But in reality, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, they actually just wanted to set up a world dictatorship, a world empire that was so sadistic and so cold-blooded it would knock out all opposition totally and completely. And that is indeed what they were able to do. And they did do that to great effect. They had a problem, though. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, it's not hard to find this is mainstream history, discovered, they were Masons, discovered what they called black masonry, and that nothing to do with black people. That a, quote, evil force was, quote, taking it over. No, it had always been in control, but they had broken through the compartments and had discovered that really they wanted to take people's freedoms, make George Washington a king, and then make this the center of the empire, and then take over basically and use us to knock out the British. So immediately, as soon as the Illuminati got the U.S., they said, okay, now we're going to build this up, and it was a long-term plan. It was like a 100-year plan, and then it's going to be the goddess Columbia. That's why we're called, Columbia. And then they worship over in that other branch the goddess Diana, and that gets off into all their occult stuff. You can spend hours on it. They've got more gods than the Indians over in India. It's just unbelievable. And so all of that started unfolding, and George Washington wrote letters. He said, an evil group's taken over. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm not going to be king. I'm not going to be part of this whole order. An evil group out of France and Germany has taken our lodges over in Europe. They're now taking over here.